The silence of the empty apartment was a comfort, a stark contrast to the chaotic symphony of my previous living situation. Here, on the 25th floor, the city lights twinkled like distant, uncaring stars. It had been 2 months of blissful solitude, a sanctuary I desperately needed. Then, the knocking started. It wasn't a friendly rap, not the tentative tap of a neighbor. This was insistent, a heavy thudding that vibrated through the floorboards and into my bones. 3 a.m., the dead of night. I lived on the top floor, one of only a handful of occupied units. No one was expecting company. No one I knew would be showing up unannounced at this ungodly hour. My breath hitched. I froze, straining to hear over the frantic pounding of my own heart. The knocking ceased for a moment, a torturous pause that stretched into an eternity. Then it resumed, louder this time, more demanding. A man's voice, muffled by the thick door, called out, "Hello? Anyone in there?" Panic, cold and sharp, seized me. I scrambled for my phone, fingers fumbling as I dialed my mom. Through choked sobs, I explained the terrifying situation. Her reassures a thin lifeline in the darkness. She promised to call the police. The knocking continued, an unyielding rhythm of fear. The police finally arrived, 2 stern but kind-faced officers. I recounted the events, my voice trembling. They took my statement, their presence a small bulwark against the creeping dread. I mentioned the doorman, a man who'd always made my skin crawl. He was young, maybe late 20s, tall and broad-shouldered. He never spoke much, but his eyes, they lingered. Always watching, always assessing. Sometimes, he'd get out of his chair just to stare as I approached the elevators, a possessive gleam in his gaze. He'd always checked me out, his unspoken appraisal a constant, unsettling hum beneath the veneer of polite service. A few days prior, I'd gone out with friends, dressed in a form-fitting black dress. He'd seemed particularly captivated that night, his stare practically burning holes through me. I dismissed it then, but now, in the aftermath of the midnight terror, it felt like a prelude. Driven by a desperate need for answers, I descended to the lobby. He was there, behind his desk, the same unnerving stillness about him. "Hey," I began, my voice surprisingly steady. "I received a knock on my door at 3 a.m. Was that you?" He didn't flinch. "Yeah, it was." My stomach dropped. "Why?" He shrugged, a subtle, dismissive movement. "It wasn't 3 a.m. It was more like 2:30. He paused, then added, his voice low, "Just checking up on you." Checking up on me? The absurdity of it made my blood run cold. "Why would you need to check up on me?" He mumbled something, a barely audible string of words. "What did you say?" I pressed. "I don't know," he replied, his eyes darting away. "Were you worried I wasn't okay?" I offered, trying to find a rational explanation. Yeah," he said, a flicker of something relief in his eyes. "But why wouldn't you think I was okay?" I pushed, my voice rising. "I don't know," he repeated, the same vacant response. I reminded him that I saw him multiple times a day, that he could have spoken to me then, His answer remained an uninformative shrug. As I walked away, a new horror bloomed. I remembered a faint, almost imperceptible knocking around 12:30 a.m. Had he been testing the waters then? A shadow of dread settled over me. This man, with his access, his constant observation, and now his unsettling nocturnal visits, had crossed a line. He knew my floor, my apartment number. He had a key card, and he was calling me, leaving voicemails at midnight and 3 a.m. The lease, with its ironclad clauses, suddenly felt like a cage. He knew where I lived, what car I drove. He was a predator, and I was trapped in his hunting ground. The city lights outside no longer twinkled. They seemed to mock my vulnerability. This is the Aqeela Files, and if you think you're safe in your own home, think again. He knows where you sleep. Subscribe before he finds you.